record the opening. Preferences. Audio hardware. Mono channel 1. Scott mono channel 2. And we are good. Okay. It's Wednesday, November 16th, 2016.
Are you sure it's Wednesday?
Huh?
Are you sure it's Wednesday?
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
It's 100% Wednesday.
I know it's Wednesday. I'm just trying to.
And tonight, we're talking about Squirrel Girl, the unbeatable.
Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel
Squirrel
Girl.
Girl. Let her.
All right.
Squirrel Girl. It's not easy to say.
Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl. Just leave a bunch of the L's out.
Say it as fast as Micro Machine Guy 20 times.
I can't even say easy words as fast as that guy talks. That guy is a hero of mine. At least he was as a kid. I used to, in fact, I joined the stupid debate team in high school. And one of the things I had to do is they had these drills where I would literally have to like read documents out loud as fast as I could. Because the way the stupid rules worked is you could only refer to stuff in the debate that actually you had brought up during the like citation phase. So you had a time limit. You just read as many citations as you could as fast as possible. And like that was a determining factor often.
They told you the topic beforehand?
Oh yeah, you'd have these we had these folders that were like Clinton good, Clinton bad, Clinton, like we had all this.
See,
so
that's the stupidest. If I had debate club, here's how it would work.
yeah.
You stand up there with no materials whatsoever.
Oh, random debate topic.
And we say, here's the topic.
You're defending
We're gonna
Herodotus.
We're gonna do a coin toss, right? Whoever wins the coin toss can pick yea or nay, for or against, right? And the other team gets to go second, has more preparation time to make up for the fact that they didn't.
No, they had a
pick.
format where you knew the topic ahead of time.
You can Google for 15 minutes, and then we're gonna hear what you have to say.
But they did it like Netrunner in that you had to, your team would have to be defending and attacking in different places. So like you couldn't just be like the no team. Anyway, it was pretty dumb actually, and I joined kind of just randomly. Partly because I wanted my picture in more yearbook things. All right.
No one cares.
I cared in high school. Don't care so much now, but I cared then.
No one cares.
I don't know. People cared. It was a big deal in high school.
No, it wasn't.
Nah, I was in Quiz Bowl too.
No one cares either.
You know, I probably complain about this about twice a year, maybe once a year at the most. But daylight saving time, kind of bullshit. And it's dark out.
If I ever have a company, when the clock moves, I'm just going to move the work hours. Everyone 8 to 4 now, because you'll leave,
I feel like the way around this is we should just go back like 2 hours and stay there forever. I want to get up in the dark. I don't want it to be light until like 11 o'clock in the summer.
You could just go back to using sundials.
Nah, because then every hour is a different length of time.
Yeah.
That's not good. Time matters. You got to keep track of time. Mustn't waste time. You must cherish it.
But that'd be awesome, because there'd be a time of the year where like lunch is way long, and
yeah, I don't think it would work out that way.
it'd be totally cool.
So
and we gotta hook up sundials to our computers so that they could tell time.
Cloud comes in, everything's fucked. Why are you late to the meeting? It was cloudy. So, got any news? It being anime day, because I've been not watching a lot of anime. I was watching Mob Psycho.
It's not anime season right now.
It was. I was watching a bunch of stuff, but I haven't watched enough to review anything, really.
I think I watched... Did I watch all of that Mob Psycho show?
I didn't finish it, but I watched a bunch of it.
I think I did watch the whole thing, actually.
Yeah, but I got distracted, and I started watching other stuff instead.
But it was, whatever. But
Westworld is way good.
Yeah, Yul Brynner's the man.
Yeah, no, the new Westworld.
Fuck that noise.
Scott.
So
you got any news?
Yeah, well, there's a non-news, right, which is that Miyazaki's coming out of retirement. He's going to make another movie, but we said that when he retired for the 5th time. So it's not a news. It's an old news.
No, you know what he actually announced? I'm going to make another movie and hope I die during it so that I can die during my last movie's production. I feel like that is his only goal at this point.
Someone beat you to that, but they weren't trying.
Yep, and that movie didn't get made.
So fuck that news. His real news is that the trailer for
that was my news.
That's sorry. Deal with it.
So yeah, Your Name is coming out, and there's a trailer.
Oh, that's not my trailer.
Oh, what's your trailer?
Well, you just keep going.
All right, so the trailer for Makoto Shinkai's Kimi no Nawa,
which
Your Name.
I haven't seen, but is based on numbers.
So I
just
clicked on this. I clicked
yet?
on this trailer, and look, it's a girl. I assume might be a guy.
Nice clouds you got there.
Looking up at a cloudy sky
Yep.
with a bunch of colorful shit going on.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's coming out. I guess the news is actually
The thing had crazy box office in Japan and crazy box office in other countries. It's coming to the U.S. So
yeah. There's a dub cast.
I don't think this will.
I literally do not care about.
This is gonna, I don't think it's gonna be the movie that suddenly has a top tier, AAA box office number for an anime in the U.S. But people are gonna go see this, including you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go see it at a nice theater in New York, probably with the subtitles and not with this dub cast, which everyone's actually talking about the dub cast. And one, it's like the people you'd expect, and two, literally, why would you care who the dub cast is?
Because you're not watching the dub.
Yeah, the dubs are all the same in America. It's either it's a Disney dub or it's a non-Disney dub. Those are your options.
It's even funnier nowadays. I was scrolling through Anime News Network, and it was like Dubcast announced for the anime with the big guy, My Love Story. Right?
Oh yeah,
and it's like I already watched that whole show on Crunchyroll with subtitles.
Never mind.
Months and months, possibly a year ago, a long time ago, I watched the whole show, and now you're dubbing it. It's like, why?
Well, I mean, there are reasons to dub things because, for mass market, because, there's a wide chunk of America is
anyone
really afraid
anyone
of
who's interested in something that obscure has already seen
But you
it.
only dub it if you're putting it on legit TV and you're trying to make, normal people watch it.
Whatever.
Meanwhile, for whatever reason, going through my Twitter sphere and also coming on my news feeds, apparently there's an interview with the dub cast of the Sailor Moon R movie, which is the one we didn't watch and review.
It's not the Candy Sky one.
Candy Sky one is the Super S movie, Space Snow Demon, and also it's mostly about Luna is the S movie, and
Luna
our movie is
Luna the cat.
Yeah. Luna the Cat is that's actually the best Sailor Moon movie.
I should check that out.
We should watch and do a show on it. It's short and it's actually pretty good. If you like,
does it stand alone?
Yeah.
All right.
All you need to know is, do you know that Sailor Moon exists?
She punishes people.
You know that Luna is her cat.
Yep.
And that Luna is kind of also a human form, alien, whatever, but that never comes up in the show.
Yes, I know. Yeah. I know all those things.
You know everything you need to know. Sailor Scouts do fuck all in that movie.
I'm just saying,
it's also it's a Christmas movie, kind of. So I feel like we should do it as our Christmas show. Yeah, and the R movie, which is the one that I guess it's about a gay plant that comes from space and tries to kidnap Tuxedo Mask.
It sounds like a One Piece movie.
It actually is a lot like that One Piece movie with the plant that kills everybody.
All right. So that was your news.
Yeah, so what trailer are you talking about? I assume this is the trailer.
The crappy live-action Ghost in the Shell trailer.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's right. Oh, I clicked on this trailer, and all it did was put even more colors and clouds up.
Anyway, so it was whitewashed as promised.
Yep.
And it's Ghost in the Shell as promised, and it's visually good looking.
Yeah, I mean,
but everything that I can gather from the trailer,
origin story.
Yeah, is like
the least interesting part of Ghost in the Shell.
This is like it's like whoever wrote this did not try to adapt Ghost in the Shell. All they did was take the characters and visuals and setting and made. At least this is what I can gather from the trailer. But trailers these days, you can usually gather the whole movie from them.
Yeah,
they're done that way on purpose. It's
as much as you complain
they basically
about that,
took a generic action movie plot of someone with a mysterious past having to fight bad guys and just slapped it onto Ghost in the Shell characters and setting without actually bringing along the real Ghost in the Shell plot.
Now, granted, it's all
fighting cybercrime.
Ghost in the Shell is tricky because depending
is the only part of that's the part of Ghost in the Shell that mattered.
Yeah.
They took the parts that didn't matter and they got rid of the part that did.
I mean, the good parts of Ghost in the Shell barely involve the source material. It's just you want standalone complex, you want standalone complex second gig, and you want the two movies.
Right. The best Ghost in the Shells are the ones where it's like
the manga's all like goony, and then it gets sexy.
Is like procedural cybercrime. Like how you got it's about the bad guy. How do we catch this bad guy? What are they up to? Oh, they're brain dubbing, or they're terrorists doing so. It's always about the bad guy.
Or you want like Bato being all philosophical and like, what does it mean for me to live?
They're hacking into policemen's eyeballs, or it's always about that.
Yep.
And then Section 9 happens to be these people who just are really good at fighting crime, and they find the bad guy, stop them, learn from them. Moral of the story. That's what Ghost in the Shell is supposed to be.
Now, when there's an origin story,
this movie is going to be about Section 9, and no one wants that garbage. Right?
Well, you do, but you want it the way Standalone Complex did it in Second Gig. Remember they had those flashbacks like, how did this guy join the team? And they're like, well, here's an interesting segment from how this guy joined the team.
Yeah, that's 2 seconds long.
They each got an episode.
Barely.
It was a whole episode. Remember the one where the sniper episode where you get that awesome sniper
but all you actually learn
the origin story is, they did something with the UN, something. Okay, we're back in the present.
Right. All you learn about it, you don't learn like his past and his deep inner feelings. All you learn is like, he joined the team because they were in a sniper battle and he was so good that the major was like, hey, join me.
Yeah, but the characters
That's all you learn.
There to push forward the ideas and the setting, and if there are, and like when there's serious long-term origin story-esque plot, it's like the stuff with the Major and Kuze, which is mostly hinted at, as opposed to this movie, which looks like it's literally, remember that Kuze guy? Let's just like follow that plot, and she's a superhero. She's basically Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think the only positive thing is that Aramaki's looks to be played by Takeshi Kitano, which is...
That fits.
They did one good thing. Congratulations.
All I want, I don't even like Arise that much. All I want is more Ushi movies, which he'll never do, or more Standalone Complex, which is literally at this point my favorite like non-Evangelion anime ever made. That's all I want out of anime is more Standalone Complex.
All right, well, maybe if this movie's a way hit, then I'll make some more animes.
You need the people who are making the new Westworld to make a live-action procedural Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex.
Well, maybe they'll make, a TV show after the movies,
Yeah, depends.
That's why I think you don't whitewash the TV show also.
Someone pointed out that in one of the trailers, only white people talk and only Asian people get shot.
Yeah, probably. I believe it.
Yep. All right. Save and... But anyway, things of the day. So when you think of a kaleidoscope, what do you think of?
A kaleidoscope?
Yeah.
That's when you look inside and you spin it and you see, whoa.
Yeah, you see, whoa. When do you think those were invented?
When were they invented? Probably... Well, I guess they needed optics, right? So after Galileo times.
Yeah.
But probably before the, earliest.
What action in Civ 6 boosts the development of kaleidoscopes?
Probably something related to boats, because that's where they're making spyglasses and shit.
So 1816.
That seems about okay.
Yeah. But
they had boats.
What do you think they were invented for? Like, what was their purpose?
They had a purpose.
Yeah, so...
Other than entertainment value?
Basically, kaleidoscopes were seen as this philosophical and scientific tool, and then the plebs were like, ooh, pretty, and all the scientists and thinkers of the day thought that people were obsessed with kaleidoscopes, and they were a weird and surprisingly powerful pop culture phenomenon. And this is an article going into the details of the kaleidoscomaniacs of the 1800s.
It was the Tickle Me Elmo of its day?
It was more like the iPhone of its day. Like, thinkers would bitch about how young people don't pay attention to the real world anymore.
Or like, you got last year's kaleidoscope. I got the news. I got this year's model is better.
In 1819, New Monthly Magazine listed the kaleidoscope as the most important invention and discovery of our times.
Are you sure that this isn't fake and this is real?
No, so I read a lot more about this. This is a pretty
Check
in-depth
Snopes
article.
on this. This could be fake.
Basically, you want to talk about kaleidoscope piracy?
This could be fake.
No, this is pretty legit.
Could be fake.
I've read some primary sources on this, but basically,
I'm just saying could be fake. I didn't say is fake.
I was not 100% convinced when I first encountered this article. It's been sitting in my queue of things of the day for a long time. But the history of the kaleidoscope is way weirder than you thought it was.
Okay.
So what do you got?
So there's this quickdraw.withgoogle.com. It's been around, but I guess not everyone's seen it. So I cheated on it with my magic pencil. And basically, it's an AI learning thing plus Google. So you push Let's Draw, and then it says, hey, draw something.
And then you draw what, a dick?
It tells you what to draw. So it's telling me to draw a mouse. So I'm going to try to draw a mouse.
Draw a stereo. All right, I'm doing it right now.
Right. And then
draw a stereo.
it uses machine learning to try to figure out, like what if you've, All
right, I'm drawing a stereo. Oh, what? Okay, you
Right.
figured it out.
You have a time limit to draw to basically convince the machine learning thing that you've drawn what it wants you to draw. So it'll be like, draw a mouse, and you've got 20 seconds.
All right, I got my cactus.
You can draw for 20 seconds until the AI recognizes it as a cactus.
Duck. I can't draw a duck for shit. It's actually really hard because I can't draw. That's a duck.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty good duck.
I'm just saying. So that's what this is.
It didn't think I drew a duck. The fuck? That's a duck.
It's pretty.
I see an aircraft carrier helicopter bird. Okay, that's pretty good.
It's pretty interesting.
I could spend some time messing around with that.
That's it.
All right. In the meta moment, the book club book is Rebecca.
Once this holidays, I'll be able to read about
So you didn't start reading it yet? That's good because I was gonna read it.
I did start reading it, and then I stopped, and I haven't picked it up again.
Instead, I read
Not
the
because
entire,
it wasn't good, because I'm doing other stuff.
I read the entire second book of the Mad Adam trilogy after Oryx and Crake.
Okay.
It's real good.
Mm.
Like, I think the second book might be better than Oryx and Crake.
Mm.
It basically looks at other parts of the world during the same time period as the events of the book, the first book.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like some people in the pleblands with the cheeky knobs and all that biz. And you learn about how the gardeners were set up. It's pretty good. I was digging it. So I guess I can finish the third book before you start reading Rebecca.
I did start reading Rebecca, so you can't.
Otherwise, check out both our YouTube channels because we're doing stuff. And now that it's the holidays and we're kind of home and quiet, a lot more stuff's going to be coming in.
I'm not home and quiet until after Thanksgiving.
What do you mean? What are we doing? We have nothing. Our next convention,
stuff like every day.
Our next convention is MAGFest, which I guess I got to write that fucking panel on quitting.
I got stuff like every goddamn day. I can't even clean my apartment.
Yeah, I'm catching up on stuff. I've been working on a lot of things. I got to think about cutting certain other things that are big responsibilities out of my life, which might affect a lot of people. We'll see how that goes. That sounds ominous to some of you, and it should. But don't worry, it doesn't affect GeekNights or any of the stuff you're looking at here. I guess PAX South submissions closed for panels like just now because they extended the deadlines a bunch of times. So if you submitted a panel to PAX South, I guess maybe there's a better chance you'll get one than usual.
Because they're desperate?
Yeah. Worries me a little because we submitted 3. Let's see if they give us 3. That'd be like the old PAX East where we do 3 or 4 every year.
It'd be worth it considering it's a trip, right?
Yeah. I mean, I already booked my flights. Like, I'm all set.
Yeah, I booked everything.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that weird thing I did last year where I ran from the panel to fly to New Hampshire to go skiing. Because the people who run that trip are like, turns out they're white supremacists, so bailed on them and not going on that trip ever again. Otherwise, yeah, follow our stuff.
I mean, if you go skiing is a really super white people thing.
You know, I have this anecdote from a long time ago where I was at Hunter Mountain.
It's unlikely you're going to see.
Because I have, basically, in finance, you get Martin Luther King Day off, which I learned when I became an adult, because I grew up in Detroit, where also you got Martin Luther King Day off, that in a lot of the South, you don't get Martin Luther King Day off.
Nope.
So I tended to always go skiing on MLK Day, and it's always a great day because, like, it's a holiday, but a lot of people don't actually have that day off, which is kind of fucked up, but that's an aside. And I just remember there's this dude who works on Hunter Mountain, and he's just this cool dude, and he is a black dude, just happens to be. And one year I came in, and he's standing there, and he's, like, greeting everyone to come in. He's like, celebrate the blackest day in history with the whitest sport on earth. And he was just being really funny. And that is my anecdote. But yeah, we're not going on that trip anymore. So, Squirrel Girl.
Did you actually read every page and every word of
I read every page and every word.
of both of those
I started
books?
with the big book that has like
the bad one?
Well, I wouldn't say bad. So it was
Oh,
a sampling.
okay. I say bad.
It was a sampling of the history of this character throughout comics.
It's not a sampling. That's pretty much is the history.
My thoughts on the origin of Squirrel Girl is that was some ugly like even for the day that was some ugly shit. Like Dr. Doom, fine. That derpy old Iron Man, sure. But the fuck, if I was Iron Man, I might have killed her because I was afraid of her. I think she's some sort of demon.
Well, she's also like 14 years old technically at that point.
But what that eye makeup? Like, who thought that was a thing?
So right, so when I was a kid and I read superhero comics a ton, right? There was sort of this thing where it was like a tradition almost of, you know, you would make non-serious parody comics, like self-parody, right? There would be like Spider-Ham or you know, characters that were just complete nonsense. Like there was a character called Slapstick who was literally like a living cartoon or something.
So was Howard the Duck on purpose, or was he really part of that?
I never read that, so I don't know.
Did you ever see the movie?
Yeah, super long time ago.
We should watch it again as adults and review it.
No, right? But you know, so there'd be all these characters that like weren't like canon characters, right? Even characters like Spider-Man would have serious times and silly times. You could buy a silly Spider-Man comic and a serious one.
Well, like when I was a kid in like the 80s and 90s, there were the What If comics. They were like, what if they all became zombies?
Right, and some things were canon and some things weren't. But there were certain characters where the entirety of the character was a joke in and of itself. So Squirrel Girl actually was not that kind of character originally. You saw in the original appearance, she was just like this side character.
This horrible demon.
Right, this side character in one issue of Iron Man or something, right, just randomly.
Yep, she shows up and she
that's
beats Dr. Doom.
That's where pretty much all superhero, you know, side characters come from that sort of thing, right? It used to be back in the day, there were only so many comics on the, you know, even on the shelf in the bookstore. It'd be the drugstore, right? You could get Spider-Man, Superman, Fantastic Four, you know, there's only so many. It wasn't like today where there's 50-something titles. So all those other characters started out as side characters in these other things. Like the Inhumans, there wasn't an Inhumans comic. It's just you would read Fantastic Four and there'd be Inhumans all over the place, right? That's where they came from. So, and nowadays, since it's been going on for so long, they keep running out of material. They are constantly digging through old books to get, you know, new or old, you know, characters. It's like, oh, this character already exists. It's already IP that we own. I don't need to bother designing a new character. I can just bring this old one back. And they're not in that many comics, so if you're worried about your continuity, there's not that much. Yeah, you can sort of do what you want with them, but you have something to work with. And it also, you know, makes fanboys excited because, oh my God, I remember that, you know.
Well, I mean, you know, you say that, but when you saw Boba Fett again, you were like, oh shit, that guy. Oh man, Boba Fett.
Sure.
I mean, that's how it goes.
Boba Fett. Anyway, so Squirrel Girl was in this like one Iron Man throwaway comic a super long time ago.
But she beat the shit out of Dr. Doom.
Right. It was just a silly comic, right? And then what happened was, I guess in the 90s or 80s,
that was 90s, right? That second one,
right? Yeah. So like the 90s,
because that felt like if I was gonna make a comic that was like a parody of what 90s comics were like, that thing was like spot on.
Right. So in the 90s, the Avengers got split up into two different comic books. There was the East Coast Avengers and the West Coast Avengers. Like the East Coast Avengers was like Captain America such and such, and the West Coast I think was Iron Man such and such, right? And so as a joke, they were like, lol, Great Lakes Avengers. Oh my gosh. You know, they're a joke. And it was all these silly characters, and like Deadpool was involved, which already means it's going to be stupid.
Yep.
Right? So Squirrel Girl was sort of like a really, you know, important character on the Great Lakes Avengers.
Well, because she was pretty much, other than the immortal guy, the most powerful and competent one.
Right, because basically it was, you know, that's the joke of Squirrel Girl.
Her
is that
Deadpool
even though
and what's that guy's name? Is the immortal guy? I already lost track of all their names.
I don't know.
Because it's all dumb.
I don't remember anyone's name.
Because he's friends with Death Urge, I guess.
Well, I don't know.
Who I kept confusing with the doorman because they look the same.
So anyway, the joke of Squirrel Girl is that she's a girl with the power to talk to squirrels. Basically,
but she also has the proportional speed and strength of squirrels.
Right. And she's basically Aquaman of squirrels, only a girl.
Yeah.
And that's usually a really stupid power. What could you possibly do with that that's so great? But she's actually not, like, you know, usually when someone has a stupid power, these stupid characters, they're also dumb themselves, right? Like, there's a Spider-Man villain who's like the Frog or something, I think.
Brick Frog!
And he's just like Frogman or some shit. He's just a dumbass wearing a frog suit. He's like a joke. But Squirrel Girl isn't a joke. Only her power is a joke, right? She's like totally smart and knows how to, fight stuff.
And it seems like the going theme with her is that she's the unbeatable Squirrel Girl because the situation she ends up in are just like, man, the only thing that would save the day here is this oddly specific oh, hey, Squirrel Girl.
Yep.
Whoa.
So what happened was Squirrel Girl was, sort of made into, brought back as a character in the 90s, 2000s Great Lakes Avengers kind of thing, right? And then even then, it was still just a joke kind of thing for superhero nerds. It wasn't anything anyone cared about.
Yeah, I mean, that 90s Squirrel Girl stuff was I'm pretty sure it was 90s. I did not check, but it was just so, like it had all these self-referential callback jokes to the superhero fandom.
Mm-hmm.
That like Deadpool with his cards.
That's what it was about, right? It was just jokes for inside jokes for inside superhero.
But
nerds.
It was also that like we're gonna be like edgy and hardcore like comics tried to be for a while then.
Anyway, I only made Rim read that garbage so he could suffer through it.
But maybe it's just because I have not consumed that like grim dark like toilet joke 90s era comics in a long time. But I kind of enjoyed it, even though, like, at one time,
There's plenty more where that came from.
I'm looking at it like this artifact from a bygone era, and on the other hand, I'm sort of appreciating that it existed in its time and place.
There's plenty more where that came from. You could do nothing but read that shit for like the rest of your life.
I mean, you want like 80 pages of suicide jokes? Well, there you go.
Right.
There it was.
So anyway, what happened more recently is they brought back Squirrel Girl in her own comic book.
And it's good.
And the writer is Ryan North, the Dinosaur Comics guy, right? So you already know it's going to be good. And, of course, it is good. It's way good.
Yep.
And it totally stands alone. You don't need to know any superhero shit. And it's not just for superhero nerds, even though it still has the basic structure of a superhero comic where every issue you have to fight a bad guy somehow.
And it's interesting because the like 90s middle era of Squirrel Girl would make these very comic book guy references to the old bullshit, or they would do homage that you could not understand unless you'd read those old like weird Golden Age, Silver Age comics where you'd see like that character keeps explaining what he's doing while he does it, and that's the joke.
Mm-hmm.
But the new Squirrel Girl will still reference the old crap, but in a funny, offhanded way that is not like it's not like it's not funny if you haven't read that old stuff.
Right.
It's just like an Easter egg.
It's weird, like despite the, who knows what's canon and what's not, right? But despite this being a brand new Squirrel Girl that's nothing like the old one at all.
It pointedly is like, yeah, she beat Iron Man and Doctor Doom and all that business.
Right. She acts like all those things totally happened. She's got Deadpool's trading cards that tell her about all the bad guys. Because all that Deadpool stuff actually happened. And all this stuff. So, and also I want the Deadpool trading cards that tell you about all the villains. Those are way better than the superhero cards I collected when I was a kid.
I collected those X-Men ones.
I
have multiple series of them.
I got those.
I had a lot of them. I also have a complete set of the second Wolverine series, including a bunch of the foils.
I got a bunch of cards in my closet. I could dig them out.
Yeah. Let's dig them out and, I don't know, burn them or sell them.
Right. But anyway, so the deal with the new Squirrel Girl, right, is that she's going to college. So I guess when she was 14 when she met Iron Man, she's college age now. You can use that to measure all other time passing in the Marvel Universe. Good luck with that.
How do you even know she ages like a human? Squirrels live like 30 years. So if she has the...
Oh, shit, she's in trouble.
Yeah, but if she has the proportional squirrel shit, then she's probably going to live like 900 years.
Or less?
No, because squirrels are small and strong for their size. She's bigger, but proportionally stronger, so she's probably going to live a really long time.
Or a lot less time.
I think she's going to live a really long time.
Anyway.
There isn't even a picture of Frogman on the
I don't know if it's
Wikipedia
called
page.
Frog. I don't know if his name is actually Frogman. Search for like Spider-Man.
Alter ego Eugene Paul Patillo.
Search for like Spider-Man Frog Villain or something. And see what comes up.
Spider-Man Frogman.
All right. Yeah,
wow.
That's him. That's the guy.
Well, you know what? I never realized Venture Brothers was making fun of this guy. There's this dude who comes in to audition to join a supervillain squad, and he stands there in a frog suit that looks almost exactly like this, and he throws a brick, and he's like, "Brick Frog!" And they're like, "Nope."
Anyway, so Squirrel Girl is now in her 20s or something, and she decides because she's so awesome, she's going to go to college, which is difficult for someone who doesn't have parents, at least no parents that we know of, doesn't have money that I don't know where she gets money from. Did she even go to school? I guess she's intelligent.
Maybe she got a scholarship. I don't know.
I don't know, but she's going to college, and she is going to stop living in the Avengers attic. And I don't know. And so there off she goes.
I like how Tippy Toes is all like, you're not majoring in squirrels, and she's like,
I already know everything about squirrels.
Except then she didn't.
Sure, but I guess she's going to study computer science, which is cool, except they never show any computer science stuff that she's learning.
Well, because she's too distracted actually doing superhero crap.
I wish that they would show some computer science action. That would be cool, right? It's like, just saying that you're studying computer science is nice. Actually doing computer science and showing it in the book would be nicer.
Itchy should have tied his tongue in a whatever knot instead of a whatever knot.
Sure.
I can't quote Simpsons verbatim like I used to.
And, there's a little bit of school drama going on, right? There's like some cute boy, and there's an awesome roommate.
The characters are all just pretty good. Like, you
know
what? If you didn't
they're sort of there. It's a lot like the old Spider-Man comics where like there would be the high school drama to go with the Spider-Man drama. Like, Flash Thompson, was that who it is? And like Gwen and whatever and all,
But like this comic would sit right alongside all those quote unquote indie comics that you just get at like the MAGFest, and you wouldn't even blink. Like if you didn't know this had its origins.
If it didn't happen to have all these Marvel heroes and villains in it.
Yup. But even then, the way they are portrayed and presented and used is still like pretty secondary. Like it's still like it's set up like a modern comic and not like that old nonsense.
Right. And all the dialogue and such is sort of Adventure Timey, right? Where they're being serious, but they're not, talking like normal people. They're talking in a slightly silly way, but still saying real things.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like whereas Adventure Time will be like math, she'll be like nuts.
Yeah. I don't know if I like the put a weird sentence at the bottom of every panel.
So
it feels like a webcomic when you do that. That is the text.
Well, the dude is a webcomic
in the
author.
hover over on a webcomic.
The dude is a webcomic author.
Yeah, so I guess he's used to doing that.
Right, and the thing is, it would be totally cool, but some of them aren't funny, right? They just don't really add. It's like a cool Easter egg, the fact that it's there.
So
in the meta sense, but the actual content of the words written down there usually don't add to what you just read, and actually they're kind of distracting because usually I can read a comic book really fast, just going through the bubbles and the pictures.
Young Padawan, learn from the master. I read the comic first, then I went back and read all those stupid things separately, and then I read all the non-comic.
The letter pages?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like they're doing everything that old comics did. I've never, a lot of comics have letter pages even nowadays.
Yeah.
But they don't put the letter pages in trades. They usually only put the letter page in floppy issues.
No, as a kid, I hated the letter page. The letter page was, the comic ended. I only got like 4 pages of comic, and now I got this ad and a letter page. Great.
Letter pages are good, positive, and negative points, right? And, some of the letter page stuff in here is good, and some of it's not so good. It's when they can do a funny answer is when it's good. And I feel like they're printing too many of the letters. I feel like they should print less of them.
Or just 100% fake them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're fake. Are they real?
I mean, as far as I can tell, they're probably real, right? I don't know if they've always been real throughout history, but letter pages are definitely mostly, if not completely, real.
Nah.
So anyway. So yeah, it's what else is there to say about it?
I mean, I liked it.
It's hot if you want to read a superhero comic that's also quite humorous but has a modern sensibility.
I guess if you've never read the weird old 90s like kind of gross quote unquote edgy comics,
don't.
Or you could read the Squirrel Girl trade because I was moderately entertained by it.
No.
The thing is, what it really
I struggled to finish it, just it felt like a chore.
What it really put into stark contrast, get it, Stark, Tony Stark, is how unfunny Deadpool is, except in the smallest of doses.
So
like Deadpool is pretty great if you get like 1 to 3 pages of Deadpool inside of something else, but just Deadpool, how could you?
So here's the thing, right? Is like Deadpool himself is not funny or unfunny, right? Is that when you have superhero comics, there's so many different writers out there, and even though it's the same nominally still Deadpool, the Deadpool in the first Deadpool comic and a Deadpool in a different Deadpool comic written by someone else are basically completely different characters, right? They have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
So if you read like, the very first Deadpool, it's like he's actually way serious and not a joke. And if you read a Deadpool written by like Dan Slott, who's really hilarious, I don't know if he's ever written any Deadpools, but he's like way hilarious. It would probably be way hilarious. Like if you read, there's a comic from the early 2000s, like Cable and Deadpool. That comic is way funny, actually. At least it was way funny for a high school college brain of me.
Yeah. Well, because there was a weird.
I don't know if it's still funny.
There was a weird mystique around Cable when I was in like middle school.
Right, but anyway, it was
Get
funny.
it, mystique?
Yeah, that was funny to my college, high school Scott brain. I don't know if it's still funny, but
Yep.
I've read a lot of Deadpool comics that are just crappy toilet humor and aren't funny at all. And it has nothing to do with the character himself. It has to do with the author, right? It's the same with anything, right? If you read some,
Well, even like look at My Little Pony. Like look at who wrote each episode, and you got a good sense of how that episode's gonna go.
Right. So the Squirrel Girl that's written by Ryan North is the top tier Squirrel Girl. And, if it's written by someone else,
Yep. All right, that was a good show.
Right.
Was the right length? I'll record the Patreon thing really quick. Let's see. Patron manager. I want to see my list of. They changed it. Patron manager. Oh, there we go. Okay. View all current patrons. And the Patreon patrons in order of the amount of money they give on a continuing basis are Alan Joyce, Rebecca Dunn, Nicholas Brandow, Heidi McNichol, Amanda Duchette, Construction Noises, Ivy Faye, MyStady.com, William Eisenrose, Jeremy Miner, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn, Christian Kuntz, Han Thomas, and Reimer Chris, Shervin Von Horrell, Iggy Kid, Rare Lavelle, James David White, Rochelle Montanona, Superboy, A Playground with No Kids, Aaron Cerise, Brian Fisher, Sailor Vista, You Think You're All That Kim Possible, but You're Not, Matthew Smith, Don Schleich, Jar Tavish, and Joe Shiro, Joe Star, Tyler Eller, Sean Yeager, Sam Crotty, Clinton Walton, Ren from New Zealand, Ryan Parent, Drew Openlander, Brian Cedrone, Finn Eric Silverod, Redacted, Chris Midkiff, Chris Knox, Daniel Redmond, Sean Klein, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. And we out.